Hi.
Okay.
So, this is not going to be an easy video to make. I'm going to start by saying trigger warnings. If any of these following things are triggering to you, please do not watch any further. Miscarriage, child loss, and I mean, you can see we're in the hospital. I'm in the middle of an induction. I got my IV. I'm here. I'm sorry if the camera's shaky. I have the shakes a little bit. So if you don't want to know the medical side of things, skip ahead in the video because I'm about to get into what exactly is going on down to the nitty-gritty. After I...
Okay.
Okay. So, right now I'm about an hour into the Cytotec tablets that they put into my vagina to help soften the cervix to help our baby pass. I'm currently 15 weeks and 6 days. We lost baby measuring roughly 13 weeks and 4 days. We are not doing a DNC. Baby's too big. So, it's an induction. Can you hold the camera?
Okay.
So, at this point in time, this is where we're at. So the story began earlier today with a normal, routine, prenatal check-in. Today is August 3rd. And we went in this morning. We're going to listen to baby's heartbeat. It's going to be a quicker appointment. Josiah was going to get to work. It was going to be great. Well, unexpected happened, to say the least. Baby's wasn't, we couldn't find the heartbeat on the Doppler. They brought in the portable ultrasound, and we were able to find baby's head, but baby's body was buried, so we couldn't really, we couldn't see anything that was going on with baby, and they weren't really cooperating. So they sent us down to the hospital for an urgent ultrasound, where we saw the flat line when they measured baby's heart. We have our last ultrasound picture, and when we were discharged the first time we went home, and I decided I was done being pregnant with a baby who was already gone, because that's not easy, as some of you know from experience, and my heart goes out to you. No one should ever have to go through this. It's not easy by any means, but we're here, we're doing it, and this is life today. So we took all the things that were babes around the house, and it's all put in their room. It's all situated. We shut the door for now, so that'll be a project for another day. But this is just life right now. Josiah, do you have thoughts? Can you fill them in on what your thought process was?
I'm just mostly going through the motions. Just trying to help my wonderful wifey through this as best I can. But it's not really much I can do. So, but yeah, I don't think I have much more.
Yeah. So, it's just been a really emotional day. I'm exhausted from all the crying and all the emotions that were very prominent earlier today. But we're going through a little mini labor, and so I have Aunt Elizabeth here, and she's here to support us. So we're just making the best out of a not great situation. But it's a very real and raw experience, and I feel like a lot of birth stories are heard, and not all of them are positive experiences. But I also feel like a borderline first, second trimester miscarriage, you don't hear a whole lot about the process and what goes on there. So, this is our story.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Okay. So, the pain is really intense right now. I just got a dose of Novain. Is that right? Did I say it right? Nubane. The contractions are still really crazy at this point. I still feel a lot of the pain and pressure. Yeah, these medical contractions are no joke. They're incredibly harsh. And
You okay?
my cervix hurts. It's a lot of... I think we're dilating more. 'Cause we have dilated at least a little bit. Doctor came and checked me. And at this point, I'm really contemplating an epidural. Because this med does help, don't get me wrong. It takes just the edge off, but there's still... really intense pressures and pains. But there's not much that we'll be able to do for that unless I get the epidural. But I also think that it's super important. I think it's super important that these birth stories still be heard. They're not easy by any means. Not easy by any means, but they still deserve to be heard. And these circumstances are pretty rare. Usually you'd qualify for a D&C. So this isn't something that you see every day. I don't remember where my last sentence left off.
This is a normal.
Yeah, it might be different circumstances, but I believe that every birth story deserves to be heard. No matter how painful, different, whatever the circumstances are, everyone deserves to have their story told. And we decided that baby's name is Phoenix because I love that name, and it was a name that I really wanted to use, but I thought it was a little too out there. But I think this is the perfect opportunity. So we're just waiting on Phoenix's arrival. And we have no idea how long this is gonna be, but every babe comes out at their own speed. I was sitting up letting gravity help. I physically cannot right now. I need to lay down and try to get some rest, so I've been closing my eyes, but these contractions are really, really intense. So this is our birth story, and I hope you enjoy the ride, because I'm sure not. But we'll check in with you guys later when we get another update. So I was still in a whole lot of pain and shaking and all the things, so right now I have a heating pad on my abdomen 2 heated blankets sandwiching my back since it was really intense and it felt like a whole band of pain. And they just gave me fentanyl because the Tylenol they gave me wasn't helping. So we did fentanyl, and I'm gonna see if I can't try to get some rest. So see you guys later. So we just had our little baby. It's a boy. We had a son. He's beautiful. So we're still here in the hospital. It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning. Just waiting for the placenta. I did get a little bit of sleep, but I do have a headache from crying. It's been hard, as you can imagine. It's still a lot. It's hard to process that, like, up until like 7 o'clock around there, it had been less than 24 hours since we first found out that there was even something wrong. So it's just been a very long little while. But just thought I should do a quick update. Yeah. I am passing a lot of blood clots. We're doing what we can. So it is now just after noon, and I've passed a lot of different clots and things. We're not 100% sure if I passed my placenta. We don't think I did. So at this point, I am mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. I can't anymore. So we're going to go in for a surgery. They're going to put me under, and they're essentially going to scrape everything out of my uterus. So it's just waiting until they can get me into the OR at this point. But, I mean, there's not much else we can do at this point. We're just ready to be home and to start healing at home. Because being on the maternity ward, hearing other babies crying is... no. So, we're gonna see if we can't get things moving along. But I am hesitant to leave our baby here. But I know that we don't have another choice. It's hard. It's really hard. So I just got back from the OR. I did have to go in and get my placenta removed. We had been trying to labor for quite some time. It just wasn't progressing, and I couldn't do it anymore. So, just got back from the OR. My throat's really dry. I'm now hooked to an IV, so there's that. And I also have my blood pressure cuff and my oxygen monitor. So I'm all hooked up to everything at this point. But hopefully we'll be able to leave in about an hour. But we'll keep you posted. I just thought I would run through the emotions going through my head in this current moment. We just got discharged. It hurts that I'm leaving my son behind. And the whole time I was in labor, I couldn't, as usually you'd be like, oh, this pain has a purpose. I'm gonna meet my sweet baby. Part of me dreaded getting closer to meeting them. And part of me just wanted them in my arms. But I had to leave my sweet boy in the hospital. There are no words. Absolutely no words. So it was pronounced as a second trimester miscarriage. So I went through all the labor, and I'm going through postpartum. We're hoping my milk doesn't come in. We'll have to see what happens. But I'm just so upset that we had to leave our son behind. But we were there for how many hours?
Like 21 hours.
21 hours.
Not to mention the time off for just the beginning of the day.
And that doesn't include, honestly, the past 48 hours has been so rough because we didn't know anything was wrong. And then it was like everything happened at once. But it was hard to be pregnant knowing that there was no baby. So I just needed to go ahead and get the procedure done. I love you, Phoenix. I love you so much. And even though you were here for such a short time, you taught me so much. I can't imagine my life any other way. I will think about you every single day. I love you, my sweet baby boy. I love you so much. We're home. The emotions are just really overwhelming at this point. There's exhaustion on so many levels. I miss my little boy. I really miss my little boy. I wish I could have him here. But sadly, the world doesn't work that way every time. So I did some research, and second trimester miscarriages only happen to 2 or 3% of people. And if you do the math, statistically speaking, That is between 1 and 5 people and 100 people. It's not a very common thing at all. But I signed a permission statement, whatever, for my son. So we will hopefully know what happened. But this is so much. I'm happy to have the IV out. I'm gonna have a nasty bruise. And they gotta take blood. So I just want to snuggle my baby. But unfortunately, that's just something that's not going to happen. It's not in the cards. And saying goodbye to him in all the different ways that we've had to. Just in the past 48 hours. It's too much. To put this in perspective for you, imagine this. One day you wake up and you think you have a happy, healthy baby, and you go in for your doctor's appointment. Just the routine doctor's appointment. They think it's funny. They can't find the baby's heartbeat on the Doppler. No big deal. They bring in the portable ultrasound. They try to see what's going on with baby. And they find baby, but they're struggling to find baby's body. We only found baby's head. So it's like, oh, wonder what's going on. So then another doctor comes in and starts doing the ultrasound. They play around with it for 15 minutes, roughly. And then they both turn and look at you. And the look on their faces says they are terrified for us. And they say, I scheduled you an urgent ultrasound. Go next door to the hospital. So we do. And those 15 minutes in that waiting room felt like an eternity. We get called back. And we get situated in our room. But the ultrasound tech starts taking all these pictures. And then it's time to measure the baby's heartbeat. It's flatlined. That's when we knew. They wanted us back over into the other building when we were done. So that's what we did. And after waiting probably another 20 minutes, which again felt like an eternity, called us in. And when the nurse gets you set up and everything, you can see it on her face. She leaves, the doctor comes in. And the first thing he says, right as he's sitting down, I'm sorry for your loss. Then we start going into all of the options that we have. And then at the end of that appointment, he says, when you decide what you want to do, give us a call. I call back maybe a few hours later, after we make it home for a little bit, and I say, I want to come in. I'd like to start tonight. He said, great, 7:30. So that's what we did. And you've seen that journey. Wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. If of my son, more than you could ever imagine. It's so hard going through labor, knowing that there's just pain on the other side. Because your baby's okay. That was our last even 36 hours. We went in for our appointment at 8:15 in the morning. I couldn't tell you what time we left, but I know we were back in the hospital in the labor unit at 7:30 at night. So, my labor was real, and it was raw. And my postpartum journey is gonna be similar physically, as far as my body goes, to a regular full-term baby delivery. And I'm going through a postpartum without my child. And let me tell you, when I was holding him, he looked just like Josiah. You could tell he was going to have big chunky thighs. He was going to be a chubby baby. He measured long for what he was, so he was going to be a tall baby. He was a big boy. Even for that 13-week, 4-day gestational stage, he was a big boy. For reference, these babies come out to be 3 inches long. He was 4.5. And I was right. I kept telling Josiah, our son is bigger than what is typical. I know it. Although at the time I didn't know that he was our son. I see the world very differently, even for the short amount of time. And I'm a proud mama. I'm happy that I got to meet my baby boy. And I was ecstatic that I actually could tell his gender. We weren't sure if that was something I was going to be able to do. And at first, I couldn't tell because one of his legs was behind his body. And the nurse moved him so I could see him better. I realized he's a boy. So, I'm not recording this for attention. I'm recording this to spread awareness. Because oftentimes, second trimester miscarriages are unheard of. And they are rare, but they do happen. And they are intense. It's very hard to go through labor not knowing when you were going to meet your son, whom you knew was already gone. I'm gonna try to relax in the house a little bit, but I had to get it off my chest. I know you can't see me very well right now, but it's almost 9 o'clock at night. We went to bed and we passed out for a few hours. And as much as I know it'll hurt, I need a piece of our son. So, the hospital, this is my first time seeing his footprints since we first got the car. It says there's no footprint so small it does not leave an impression on this world. And it has his birth stats. You need to, like, turn on the big light, Saya. The hospital gave us this care package. It's a picture frame. You realize these things are crocheted?
Mm-hmm.
Can you bring me the tissues that's in there? It's hard to think I'm still a mom. Yeah. I birthed my son. But they aren't here. I'm still bleeding and clotting and all the things normal for postpartum. I don't have my baby to snuggle. Dear ones, we have prayed for the Lord's strength in your life during this time. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew chapter 5 verse 4. Sincerely, the Precious Ministry Valley Bible Baptist Church. I still hate that we had to leave him behind.
There's nothing else we could do.
leaving our son at the hospital and knowing we're gonna never see him again. It kills me.
I know.
They're gonna try to figure out what happened to our baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had such issues with the placenta, I don't have a press or anything, so I lost one opportunity. It was nobody's fault. It was just the circumstance. My body had been laboring really hard, and I physically couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore. And so I had a miscarriage followed by a surgery. It's just such an unusual circumstance. You don't typically hear about these specific cases because they are rare. But this is by far the hardest thing I've ever walked through. I feel like they've gotten a lot of my thoughts, Josiah, but can you fill them in on your own?
I will later.
You need more time.
I do. It's mostly due to my physical body. I pushed myself a lot further I've pushed myself before. So it's really hard. I'm just trying to reset.
And I'm trying to wrap my head around we're still parents.
I know.
I'm still going through postpartum. And we don't have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if this is how other animals feel when their babies pass unexpectedly. And they just walk around looking for them.
I don't think so.
I think it is.
I just think it could have been a lot worse.
What do you mean?
You know, it could have been a lot later that this happened, and
The second trimester is pretty late, Zaya.
it is, but it's not the latest it could be. Just like I said, it's not much we can do about it.
I know.
I know it sucks. I'm trying not to get caught up in the what ifs.
I'm refusing to get caught up in the what ifs.
Yeah.
But regardless, you realize every consecutive pregnancy from now on is going to come with an amount of anxiety I can't even fathom.
I know. I understand. It's gonna be hard, but we'll get through this. But we won't forget. Okay?
How could I? I still went through all the labor. I did all the hard stuff.
I know.
Never in a million years would I have thought that this would be our first labor experience. And I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody. No one deserves to go through this. It's just really real and very raw. And we're confusing the kitties. They don't understand what's going on.
I know.
And I had a mark on my thumb from when our son's footprints were made, and that's now gone.
I'm sorry.
I know this isn't going to be an easy video to watch, and right now I have no idea when these are going to be edited, but just know that we appreciate your support in watching this and in spreading the awareness. And please, if you're going to comment, he's still a baby. He's still our little boy. And when describing our baby and anybody else who's walking through this, or a first trimester miscarriage, a stillbirth, any of these topics, please do not refer to the baby as an it. The baby is still a baby. And they were a them if you didn't know the gender. And they still deserve to be loved.